A game that I look forward to every year, it happens on Saturday as well, and that's Georgia versus Alabama. This is a big game. This is a maybe it's taken a step back than in previous years, but you got to be excited about this one, right?
I definitely am. I mean, you have both teams who are fresh off a bye, and for Alabama, they've really come along since that FSU game when they absolutely demolished them. Granted, it's been against ULM and Wisconsin. Wisconsin isn't horrible; they're bad, but they're not horrible, and they dominated them.
Yeah.
The passing game looks really great. Ty Simpson looks confident. It seems like Jam Miller is probably not going to play, even though originally this was kind of the goal for him to be back.
Sure.
That's going to hurt a little bit because the run game for Bama hasn't really been there without him. I thought they had the depth to keep it running. They haven't to this point. And you cannot be one dimensional against Georgia. And Georgia's offense had questions that were answered against Tennessee. Gunnar Stockton showed an explosive passing game. Those receivers showed a lot of downfield presence. So, granted, Tennessee was down both corners, but 40 plus on the road in Neyland in that environment is always going to be impressive. So, I'm a little worried about Bama being potentially one dimensional against a Georgia defense that will absolutely eat that up.
TJ, we know that this is not Nick Saban's Alabama, but how far would a victory against Georgia go in legitimizing Kalen DeBoer's Alabama?
Well, I mean, they got it last year, right? And Kirby obviously couldn't get the monkey off his back. They've won that one game in the national championship, but I think they've lost to him, 6 or 7 times. And so, yeah, I mean, I think that this is, I mean, we kind of look at Georgia as, I mean, not look at, they have the Vegas odds to go and win the SEC, right? So Georgia is kind of the team to beat right now.
Down year for Georgia.
Yeah. And so what they did on the road at Neyland, I mean, then you got to go into Athens. Yeah, this would be a huge win. And I mean, like I'm not trying to, it's still really early and we'll see how Friday night goes, but I'm not sold on Florida State being some elite team, but they might be really good, right? Like they might, we'll see again when they play Virginia and then play Miami. But Alabama, that's still kind of I don't want to say unacceptable, but still a loss that they shouldn't have taken, even if Florida State is really good and they really shouldn't have gotten pushed around like they did. But if you go out and beat Georgia on the road, I think a lot of Bama fans probably expected to beat Florida State and probably lose to Georgia just because of who you're playing and where you're playing. If you can flip that and then Florida State keeps winning, like Florida State goes out and beats Miami in 2 weeks, I know Bama fans, I mean, they're still going to be annoyed because their expectation is perfection, but nobody's going to be annoyed anymore. You're going to say Florida State's a really good freaking team and we lost to them and they shocked us and we're undefeated since then. And Bama will be top 10 if they win this game. So yeah, this game would be huge for Alabama and Kalen DeBoer if they do it. My plan is Florida State plays on Friday night. My plan is to be there for this game on Saturday. We'll see how all of that works. But yeah, this would, I mean, it'll be massive for both teams. Cause I don't think Bama's terrible. So if Georgia gets this win, they're probably going back to Atlanta. So, all right, I need a drink now. I'm getting choked up.
Well, just for the record, in 2 weeks, I'm rooting for the asteroid. But Will, if Alabama wins, what went right for them?
They were able to run the ball because if they only have to go through the air, Kirby Smart is going to he's going to love that if Bama's one dimensional. So Bama has to be able to have a balanced attack or else this Georgia defense, even though they struggled against Tennessee, I don't think Bama's passing offense is on the same level as the Vols, so they won't be able to really take the top off. And Bama's defense, they've been struggling with explosives containing them, so their defense needs to lock down a little bit more. So it's both running the ball and just keeping everything for Georgia in front of them on defense to make sure that they don't let Georgia get any quick hitters and really extend the lead.
TJ, talk about this game in context of importance for recruiting. I feel like Georgia and Alabama have sat at the top of the recruiting world for a decade or more. I mean, Alabama more than, and they recruit the same type of kids. I think we can talk about Ohio State being a recruiting juggernaut. Like you can throw, Michigan in there some years or what, but it's a different area of the country. Truly, Georgia and Alabama basically have their pick of the South. Maybe they lose some to Texas over there, which I don't really consider the South at all. What kind of momentum can be gained from that recruiting wise? There's going to be a lot of guys in attendance at this one.
Yeah, I think it's more of what could be, my take on it would be it's more of what could be lost. Like if Bama loses this one, I mean, both teams are going to recruit in the top 5. So it's not like, they both kind of have their pick of the litter when it comes to elite blue chip talent. But I do think that if Bama loses this one, and then you look at the rest of their schedule, they got to play Tennessee, they got to play Vandy, they got to play Oklahoma at some point. They got to play, or they already played Tennessee. Sorry, they got to play Oklahoma. They got to play, Vandy. They've got to play LSU. You start to think, well, is an 8-4 Bama pulling in as much talent as they normally do? So I think Georgia will be fine either way. Maybe this flips one guy that's between the two of them that they both are going after. They both just have such an embarrassment of riches when it comes to recruiting, though, that I don't think it has a major impact, but it could start to. Bama goes out and gets physically dominated like they did in week 1. And basically you've beaten the two bad teams you played and you've gotten demolished by the two good teams you played. I do think that could start to, it could have bigger ramifications for Bama than anything else. Georgia could lose this game by 3 or 7 or whatever, and they're still going to do fine because they're going to rack up a lot of wins this year. So that's where I would kind of see the issue for anybody if it was present.
I think the interesting thing is that, yeah, they got demolished week 1, but they have the horses to run with anybody. This is a team that is a perennial top 5, sometimes top 3 recruiting program. And so it's almost a disappointment when you lose to a team who hasn't recruited at the same clip as you. But because they have that stable of athletes, the odds that this game is close are pretty high, Will, right? What's your score prediction?
Yeah, I think this is going to be a pretty slow game because I think Georgia's going to relatively control both sides of the ball, given how Bama, I believe, is going to be one-dimensional and how Georgia, when they want to be, they can really just lean on you with the running game. I've got like 27-17 Georgia. I think it'll be competitive the entire time. It's not going to be a runaway double-digit win for Georgia, but I do think they win this game by 10. I think they're just able to really lean on Bama the entire time. It just becomes too much for them.
Our scores are really close. We'll get to mine in a minute. TJ, what you got?
I'll take Georgia as well because it's at home. I would pick Bama if this was in Tuscaloosa, even though they did lose that game early in the year. I'll go 21-20. I'll say it's incredibly close. I think Bama has to settle for a couple of field goals. And I'll say Bama even has a lead at halftime in this thing. We're a little like double up on this, but Georgia just shows that knack of being able to come back. And so Georgia wins 21-20.
I don't think anybody makes halftime adjustments like Kirby Smart does, at least not that's active in football. I'm going to go 24-17 Bulldogs. But I agree. This is going to be this is going to be a close one, but it's going to not be a barn burner like some of the other ones. I think it's going to be a really close slugfest of a match.